story of generations. We're entering into the next phase in the life of Israel. We had the birth of Isaac, the marriage of Isaac, the offering of Isaac, the marriage of Isaac. And now we have Isaac having his own descendants. The problem that Isaac has here is that his wife is barren. So Rebekah goes before the Lord and she conceives. And God gives her a word because things are happening within her that don't quite feel right. That there's something going on inside of the womb that doesn't quite feel right. And God gives her this word as she beseeches him. He says, "Why is this?" And the Lord answered her and he said, "Two nations are in your womb. Two separate peoples shall issue from your body. One people shall be mightier than the other, and the older shall serve the younger." The beginning of the story of Esau and Jacob. It wasn't just two peoples that were there. Another word for the Hebrew word that's used here is regimes. Regimes, or nations, kingdoms. Because they represent specifically two kingdoms. The life of Esau and the life of Jacob are diametrically opposed. Esau becomes known as a man of the field, a hunter, a real fleshy guy. And Jacob becomes known as the more spiritual, living in the tents, learning, listening to his mother and father, learning about the messages that God has given them. While Esau is out killing game, killing animals and bringing them back and fixing them and eating them. And he was just, it's a picture of the world or the flesh battling against the spirit between the two. And the controversy that exists between these two brothers. It's similar to what we go through all the time. Paul writes about this and says, we have a battle of the spirit against the flesh. All right? So we have a little bit of Esau and a little bit of Jacob. All right? A little bit of Esau, a little bit of Jacob. So we battle against the flesh all the time also. As the story goes, Esau was out hunting and Jacob was home cooking. And Esau comes in and he uses these words that he's famished and that he is going to die if he doesn't eat. He's got one of these ravenous hungers upon him, and Jacob looks at him and says, he's got this stew boiling, this, they say like a lentil stew, or Jacob calls it, or Esau calls it that red stuff. He says, Jacob says to him, "First sell me your birthright. Sell me your birthright, and I'll give you a bowl of stew." And Jacob says, "Well, what good is a birthright to me right now? I'm hungry. That's not going to satisfy my hunger." And with that, he gives away his firstborn position, the birthright of the inheritance. He gives it away for a bowl of stew to Jacob. It just demonstrates the mentality that Esau has about the things that God has established in the lives of Israel up to this point in time. The value or the lack of value that the firstborn really has in his life. I believe that Esau thought that he could probably get out of any situation because he was a man of the world. He was a man of the flesh. Self-independent, self-sufficient, and can probably deal with any situation in the world. So him negotiating this birthright for a bowl of stew, it was more important for him to have the bowl of stew, and in the back of his mind probably, this doesn't mean anything anyway, so I'll go ahead and do this. But didn't realize that the words that came out of his mouth meant something. Because when he said to him, When Jacob says to him, "First sell me your birthright," and Esau says in verse 32, "I am at the point of death, so of what use is my birthright to me?" But Jacob said, "Swear to me first. Swear to me first. Make an oath. Make a covenant. Make an agreement with me first." So he swore to him and sold his birthright to Jacob. Jacob then gave Esau bread and lentil stew. He ate and he drank. He rose and went away. Thus Esau spurned his birthright. What came out of his mouth sealed the deal. It sealed the deal. The battle of the flesh and the spirit. This battle continues through this chapter, through this Torah portion. It ends up that not only does Esau lose his birthright, he loses the double blessing or the double portion that belongs to the firstborn of Isaac, according to the laws of God. The firstborn is supposed to have not only the birthright, in other words, carry the name forward, but also have a double portion of the inheritance to carry him through as a reward for being the firstborn. And he loses that in the end. So Jacob ends up with both the birthright and the double portion of the inheritance. The spirit wins out in the end. We can debate how it took place and everything else, but it was God's